So this is a video walkthrough of my sailing canoe and all of the modifications that I've made. I put a series of videos on YouTube showing the build of this and have learnt a lot in the process and have made a lot of changes in the process. Now, in designing a sailing canoe that I wanted to be able to use also as a kayak, I kept it fairly narrow. And what I actually found was that I ended up with the worst of both worlds. A heavy kayak that was hard to paddle. It rode rather well, but heavy to paddle and far too narrow in order to sail it properly. So what I've decided is that for practical purposes, something like this in the future, when I make a new one, it will be much narrower so that it is an efficient kayak. And I think putting on a set of outriggers is the most sensible option for sailing. So what I've done, I've removed the side tanks which I had previously put on and left it open. The reason is that lets me move from one side of the boat to the other in order to shift my weight around. When I had the side tanks in there, there was really no opportunity to actually do that. I've added, of course, the outriggers, and at the moment, just as an experimental approach, I'm sort of screwing these on with screws, and I've put some threaded elements into the frames of the kayak here to enable bolts to go down through the top of the armors. These are just a 90 by 45 framing timber. If you're going to try something like that, make sure you find some that have nice straight grain. And where the cross beams were here, it kind of overlapped with the centerboard case, preventing me from getting the centerboard down, so I had to set up this kind of approach here. I've moved, and as you can see, this might be a little bit of a problem with the main line here. Obviously one doesn't want to let that get out of control. Previously I just had a, what would you call it, 1x3 or something like that, downhaul mechanism, straight from this point down here, just behind the centerboard. But that kind of, as you can see with the positioning of the sail, put the leverage point a little bit too close to the center of the sail where it's actually fixed up to the mast. So I've now put a traveller kind of arrangement on the back here, which we'll see how that actually works. I've created a mechanism here in order to be able to steer. One of the problems I can see is that when tacking, you're going to have this kind of pulled forward like that in order to make a turn, which is going to interfere with the main line here. So one would need to take that into consideration and maybe just ensure you can get that past the rope there. So I just actually shortened that now to see how that goes. So that's a consideration for the future, that you want the main to be far enough forward so it's not going to interfere with the pole there to steer the boat, the extension pole for the tiller. And just a tarp sail to try and test out this size and how well it works. I'll probably get a proper one made up of those dimensions if it works. This is going to put the center of effort a little back behind where the centerboard is. And again, in future designs, I think I'll put the actual centerboard cases, one each armor, which lets you put them pretty much wherever you like and not interfere with space within the actual boat itself, allowing you to create a nice clear space for kayaking, effectively sit on top or sit in kayak, but without the cowl around you, and then giving you, potentially, and this is another factor for a design in the future, the ability to sleep on board if you wanted to sleep on board and not have the centerboard case in your way there. So, the other thing I've done, obviously there's lots of flotation here in the front tank. I've cut out a foam sort of block here from some building foam that I just got from a hardware. That's, I think, 100mm thick, couple of layers of that. And I can just actually lash that down with a tie down, which gives me a good amount of flotation in the back of the boat then. And that is it. And actually these, I'll just talk briefly about these outriggers. I actually manufactured these again from the foam using a hot wire cutter, using the plywood as guides, And that worked out quite well. These are really light. They're never going to sink because they cannot leak. It's all solid foam there. They're still quite light. I just need to work out the smartest way to attach these to the outriggers such that if you did happen to capsize, I want this to be able to slide in like so, allowing you to easily turn the boat over and then pull that back out and fix it. So I'll probably rig up some mechanism of pins and such there to allow those to be easily adjustable. That's about it.